أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Okay, last week we talked about Kalam wa Aqsamu, right? Okay, so as usual we will quickly revise what we did and then we move forward inshallah. Okay, last week we defined Kalam. What is Kalam? What is Kalam? Al-Lafzu Al-Murakkabu Al-Mufid Bil-Wad'i. Al-Lafzu Al-Murakkabu Al-Mufid Bil-Wad'i. And we, if I'm not mistaken, last time we said Kalam that is defined by the author. He said it is a lafz. What is a lafz? What is a lafz? Something to be said, right? In Arabic, what is a lafz? النطق هو النطق باللسان. Okay, good. هو اللفظ المركب. مركب يعني it has to be composed by two words, right? One word cannot go. And he says al-murakkab al-mufid. Al-lafz. If I write a letter to you and you understood what I'm talking about, do we call it kalam? According to Nuhat. It is kalam according to everyone except the Nuhat. They said it is not kalam. How about ishara? I indicate to you, I ask you to do something through sign, the usage of sign. And you understood what I wanted, and you did what I wanted you to do. Is it kalam? According to the Nuhat. Okay, good. So al-lafzu al-murakkab al-mufid. Al-murakkab means it has to be in two words. How about istaqim? Is it kalam? Istaqim, is it kalam? Only one word, right? You have also words like qum. You have words like uktub. Are they kalam? Yeah, why? Qum anta. What does that mean? I understand precisely the justification. It is like qum anta. How do we get that anta? The person who speaks did not mention that, right? But how do I know that there is anta hidden? Yes. Huh? I couldn't hear. I said, how do I get that anta? Min babi taqdir. It means when I say kum, there has to be somebody I'm talking to, right? That person, he will be the person that will tell us what am I hiding in that word. When I say kum, the person that I'm directing the words to, you get it, knows that yes, I'm hiding something that means him. He himself is the one who is intended. Because I don't talk to myself. So when I say kum, it means kum anta. Istaqim means istaqim anta. Okay, that's good. هو اللفظ المركب المفيد بالوضع. During the days of Mulha, there was a bait we quoted last time. We memorized, we read it right, that supports this. So, Al-Kalam, Haddul Kalami, Ma Afada Al-Mustami'. It's exactly like the statement of Al-Rumi, that when he says Al-Kalam huwa al-lafdhu al-mufidu al-murakkab bil-wad'i. Okay, al-wad'u, what does that mean? When I say al-wad'u, it carries two things, right? One of them is intention. The second one is أن يكون بالوضع العربي باللغة العربية. So it has to be based on the way the Arabs speak. It has to be based on the way the Arabs speak. So الوضع العربي مراده أن يكون الواضع له قاصدا له. What does that mean? It means the kalam sakran is not. It's not kalam. Somebody who is sakran, somebody who drank wine, for example, or insane. When they talk according to the nuhat, they don't call it kalam. Even according to the Islamic principles and the fiqh, also it is not kalam. That's why we don't hold him accountable for what he does. So for me to define kalam, there are four things to be noted here, right? Quyud, four restrictions that I should put in the definition for it to be properly defined. Number one is أن يكون لفظا. Number two is أن يكون مركبا. Number three is أن يكون مفيدا. Number four is أن يكون بالوضع العربي. أن يكون بالوضع العربي. If I say to you الرجل القدير البارع الفاهم, is it kalam? الرجل القدير البارع الفاهم, is it kalam? Why? But it is too long, right? I have like 4 or 5 words inside. Do we call it kalam? Why? Because the fa'ida is incomplete, right? لا توجد هناك فائدة يفهمها المستمع. It is incomplete. Although it is too long, I can make it longer than that. But still, the person who is listening to me will be waiting for me to add something to complete my sentence. We don't call it kalam, but we call it something else. What is that? They call it al-Kalim. They don't have this in the in the book we are studying, because it is a very brief and a summary of Nahw to address the beginners. So that's why many things also he did not bring them. Some scholars, they brought them in the definition, but he doesn't bring it. Sometimes it will just be suffice with the example to define something, to make it much easier. But you have kalam, and you have you have kalim, and you have kalima, and you have al-qawl. How many things we have? Kalam, you have kalim, you have al-kalima, you have al-qawl. Please do remember these. Al-kalam, you have al-kalim, you have al-kalima, you have al-qawl. I will repeat. You have al-kalam, you have al-kalim, al-kalim, and you have al-kalima, and you also have al-qawlu. Clear, inshallah. Kalam is what we said. What did we say? Al-lafzu al-mufidu al-murakkab, al-lafzu al-murakkab al-mufidu bil-wad'i. Any lafz, any word that gives fa'ida, and it is composed, you get it, composed by two things, and also according to the Arabic language, and the one who says it, he was intending his statement. Clear? That's kalam. You get it? So it has to be mufidan, and it has to has it must have two words in it. whether they are all exposed or they are hidden. And also at the same time, it must be in accordance to the language of the Arabs, and it has to give fa'idah. Okay, fa'idatun yahsanu as-sukutu alayha, something that when you stop, the listener, the audience will never need any additional information to complete the sentence. That's kalam. The second one is al-kalim. Al-kalim. Al-kalim is a sentence that has, it must be more than one. It must be more than one. That's a kalim. It has to be two and above. And has to be two and above. So when you have the sentence that I quoted last time, al-rajulu, al-qadiru, al-bari'u, al-what? Al-rajulu, al-qadiru, al-bari'u, al-fahim. The difference between kalim and kalam, kalim has to be more than two, and it is not necessarily to be mufid. It can have fa'idah or no fa'idah, it doesn't matter. Kalam has to be two and above, you get it, or one thing also can be if there is something hidden. In kalim it doesn't work like that, but kalam has to be something that has a fa'idah. So the main difference between al-kalim and also al-kalam, when it comes to fa'idah, in kalam we must get the fa'idah, and in kalim it is not necessary that the fa'idah is there. That's why I told you the sentence that I said, al-rajulu, al-rajulu, al-qadir, al-bari'u, al-fahim. This one is kalim, but it's not kalam. You get it? Because it has more than 3 words actually in it, so it fulfills the requirement. But does it make any sense? It doesn't make sense. Then we don't call it kalam. It was supposed to be kalam because both kalam and kalim, they share this nature that it has to be more than one above or more than 2. You get it? This one is 4 words, so we're supposed to call it kalam. But since we lack the fa'idah, then we don't call it kalam. So we move to the other one, which is al-Kalimah. Ibn Malik says, كلامنا لفظ مفيد كاستقم واحده كلمة والقول عام وكلمة بها كلام قد يعم. So he was talking about these what you call types of the words that I mentioned. You have kalima, you have kalam, you have kalim, and you have al-qawl. Al-kalima, this is one word. This is a word. When I say kalima, I'm talking about a word. Although sometimes the Arabs, they might say kalima and they mean the whole speech. Alqa al-khatibu kalimatahu al-mashhura. When I say al-khatib gave his kalima al-mashhura, and what do you call the khatib gave the khutbah. It was a lengthy khutbah. For example, he takes more than 1 hour talking. But I can describe the khutbah when I talk to you. I can say to you the khatib said his kalima. The Arabs sometimes they say they address a speech, no matter how much long it is, they address it by kalima. But originally kalima means one word. That's why Ibn Malik says wahiduhu kalimatun. You see al-kalam, the singular of the kalam is kalima. When you have a kalima, you have another kalima, put them all together and they make fa'idah, then you construct kalam. Do you get it? But when it is individually mentioned or stated, then you call it kalima. Okay. The last one is al-qawl. And I will repeat it again, inshallah, the explanation. The last one is al-qawl. Al-qawl is something that combines all of them. Qawl is something that is said by somebody. So kalima is qawl, kalam is qawl, kalim is qawl. Do you get it? All of them, they are called qawl. That's why Ibn Malik says wal qawlu amma. You get it? Wal qawlu amma. Wal qawlu amma means it is too general. It includes all of those 2 that were mentioned before. You have kalam, you have kalima, you have qawl. Qawl is bigger than what you call the first 2 mentioned. So first we have kalam. This is what we define. What is kalam? Kalam is al-lafdhu al-mufid al-murakkab al-lafdhu al-murakkab al-mufidu bil-wada'i. And the second one is kalim. Kalim is something that has more than two words, but it is not necessarily that sentence has fa'idah. Do you get it? It doesn't necessitate any fa'idah. So that's what we call kalim, because it doesn't have fa'idah. The next one is al-kalima. Al-kalima is one of the ajza of the kalam or kalim. You have kalim because it is composed by so many words, that's why it becomes kalim. Each word is standing by itself. So kalima is any juzu of that kalam, we call it kalima. Al-rajulu, that's kalima. Al-qadiru, that's kalima. Al-bari'u, that's kalima. Al-fahim, that's kalima. You get it? You will put them all together, you either have either kalam or you have kalim. When there is fa'idah in it, we call it kalam. When there is no fa'idah, the person who is listening to you will be waiting for you to complete your sentence. We call it what? Kalim. So if I say to you, Innal insana khuliqa halu'a, is it kalam? Allah musta'an. Innal insana khuliqa halu'a, is it kalam? Yes, because it is a complete sentence. Is it kalim? Yes, also because you have inna al-insan khuliqa halu'a. Kalim can be something that has fa'idah and can be something that has no fa'idah. Do you get the idea? Kalam has to be something which has fa'idah, but kalim, it is not necessary that it must get a fa'idah, but it has to be composed by so many words, more than two. So when I say innal insana khuliqa halu'a, when I say to you wa in kanat wahidatan, is it kalam? No. If it is only one person, if she is alone, is it kalam? No, because it is an incomplete sentence. But if I say, but is it kalim? Yes, it is kalim. وَإِن كَانَتْ وَاحِدَةً فَلَهَا النِّصْفُ. وَإِن كَانَتْ وَاحِدَةً فَلَهَا النِّصْفُ. Then it will become kalam, and it will become also kalim, and it will become al-qawl. But can we call it kalima? No. Unless if we're going to go to the istilah of the Arabs, sometimes they call the whole speech kalima. They don't mean the literal meaning of kalima, because those speech, you cannot call it kalima. We call the ajza. Ajza, when I say ajza, this is a plural of juzu. Juzu is a piece of something. You get it? Ajza ul insan, the parts of human being. Every part we call it juzu. So I repeat again. So these are the things that you're going to be dealing with in Nahw. Sometimes you will see the kalam, we already know what kalam means. Sometimes you will see the word kalim, we already know what kalim means, right? The difference between kalim and kalam is in fa'idah. Does it make sense or not? When it makes sense, it might be kalim, it might be kalam, but kalim has to be composed with more than two, but kalam can be from two and above. Do you get it? But it has to make sense. It has to make sense. Clear? Inshallah. Any question before I move? Because I'm going to move to something maybe might be critical, so I don't want you to miss anything. Yes. Al-qawl is a general term that combines everything. Whatsoever is said is qawl. So if I say ar-rajul is qawl. If I say ar-rajulu fahimun is qawl. Do you get it? If I say kataba ar-rajulu is qawl. You get it? If I make it only one word, also is qawl. Yeah, you get it? That's why they say it is a general term that includes all of them. And kalam and kalim and kalima, they are all combined in qawl. Kalima is one word. Kalam is two and above, that makes sense. Kalim is more than two. You get it? And that makes sense or doesn't make sense. Clear? Okay. Any more questions? Nothing. Okay. Al-Kalam, since we talk about Kalam, there are some exceptions mentioned by the scholars, which I think we should highlight them before we go on. Kalam cannot be composed from two fi'ls. We know the fi'l, right? The verbs. And please take note on this. Kalam cannot be composed from two fi'ls. Do you get what I mean? What I mean is, in a sentence, we have only fi'l, and we call it kalam. It doesn't work like that. It has to be fi'l and ism, or fi'l and something that will make it kalam. But fi'l and fi'l, we cannot construct a kalam from that end. لا ينعقد من فعلين. لا ينعقد الكلام المفيد من فعلين. It cannot be composed from two fi'ls. ولا من حرفين. And it also cannot be, that's the second exception, cannot be composed from two harfs, two letters. You have harf and harf. Fi, you have fi, and then another fi. Or you have anna, or you have fi, or you have min, you have anna, or something like that. You cannot just have a kalam which is composed by two harfan. Harf and harf, you put them together and they make sense, it will never come in. Number 3, وَلَا مِنْ فِعْلٍ وَحَرْفٍ. And also you cannot have kalam from fi'l and harf. From verb and letter, it doesn't come. Cannot be composed from fi'l and harf. So we have how many now? 3, right? Cannot be composed from fi'l and fi'l, and also harf and harf, and also fi'l and what? And harf. Last one. وَلَا مِنْ إِسْمٍ وَحَرْفٍ. And also it cannot be composed from ism and harf. Ism and harf. You have name and then you have harf, and then you make a kalam from that. It makes sense. It will never. So two fi'l being combined together, they cannot compose kalam. They cannot make kalam. Two harf combined together, they cannot make a kalam. Fi'l and harf only in a sentence, they cannot make kalam. And ism and harf only in a sentence, they cannot make a kalam. Clear? Clear, inshallah. Yes. There is something hidden, because min al-madrasa is ana min al-madrasa. That's why when you said when I say to you who is with you, you remember the lesson last time when I say to you who is with you, you don't need to say Fatima or Karima is with me. You can just say Fatima, and then I understood there is something hidden. This is what Ibn Malik was referring to when he says وَحَذْفُ مَا يُعْلَمُ جَائِزٌ كَمَا تَقُولُ زَيْدٌ بَعْدَ مَنْ عِنْدَكُمَا. According to the Arabs, to the language, you can delete and hide what is known to the audience. You already know that he knows it, so you don't need to waste your time and mention it, because he already knows that it is part of the sentence. So he said كَمَا تَقُولُ, just like when you say Zayd, after somebody asks you about who is with you, man indak, man indakum, you said what? Zayd. You don't need to say Zaydun indana. So when I usually you will not say ana min al madrasa unless if there is a question. That's why they say in the qaida as-su'alu mu'adun fil jawabi. When you give an answer, the su'al, the question is repeated in the answer. So it should be the first part of the answer, but you don't mention it, because it is already known to that person. So somebody asks you, min aina anti? You say what? Min al madrasa. You don't need to say ana min al madrasa. You don't need to say that. Or your name is Karima, Habiba. You cannot say ana Habiba or Karima min al madrasati. It's too long. He already knows that when you say min al madrasa, you're talking about yourself. So it is not only harf and ism. There is something else hidden. Good question. Any other question? Okay, so I will repeat, inshallah. Cannot be constructed from fi'lain, right? Two fi'l, and also two harfs, and also fi'lun wa harfun, and also ismun wa harfun, right? So we cannot have a complete sentence, a kalam, from these. Okay, this one is understood, inshallah. As we said, inshallah, we will never move forward until everything is understood properly. قال إلا في النداء, except in the case of nida. What is a nida? A nida means call. When I call a person, according to the Arabic language, there are certain letters that the Arabs they use, whenever they decide to call somebody, so that he will understand that he is invited or he is called by someone. When I say Ya ayyuha al-insan, this is one of the huruf al-nida. Ya ayyuha al-insan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many times mentioned this. This is harf al-nida. Harf al-nida means something that you use to show to the person who is listening to you that you're calling him, or at least you want his attention to come to you. So they say you cannot have harf and ism and harf, only two of them in a sentence, and that sentence making sense. It will never happen except in the case of nida. When the sentence is all about nida, calling somebody, this one is possible. You can have ism and you can have what else? Harf in a sentence, and they will make sense also. Illa fi nida. And even this one, it makes sense because there is something hidden, not really hidden, but there is an interpretation for that harf of nida. It has an interpretation which makes it okay for the Arabs to use it like that. I will mention the example. قال إلا في النداء مثل قولك يا زيد. When you say ya zaydun, is it kalam? Yes, it's kalam, because it's a complete sentence, and the guy, also the Zayd, he understood something that makes sense. And Abdurrahman, relax. Say astaghfirullah. It mentions something that makes sense, right? Ya zaydun, right? Okay, ya zaydun. Why does it make sense? Because the Arabs, they accepted it like that. You see, the qaida says, qaida means the legal maxim. The principle that we just mentioned is, we mentioned earlier, says there is no kalam from ism and harf, right? When I say ya, that's harf. Sure, yeah, that's harf. Ya, that's harf. It doesn't have meaning in itself, right? Ya, that's harf. Zayd, that's a word, right? That's a word, and that's a name. When I say Ya Zaydun, this is harfun, and also wa ismun, and also it makes sense according to the Arabs. This is what? An exception to that qaida that we mentioned. The general ruling says no kalam that should be composed from only name and harf. This one is understood, inshallah, right? But then they say, according to the Arabs, sometimes if they have a sentence that contains harfun nida. Harfun nida means any letter that is used by the Arab to show to the one who is listening that your attention is invited or is needed. When I say Ya Zayd, Zayd will understand that I'm calling him, I'm inviting him to come to me, right? The Arab says this one is okay, although it is harf and ism, which the general ruling says it shouldn't be kalam. A person should complete his sentence, but the Arab says this one is okay. They accept it. Why did they accept it? Because they say harfun nida, this what do you call it? The letter ya, halla mahall al-fi'l. It was supposed to be fi'l. Okay. Can I have a jumla mufida from fi'l and ism? Yes, right. That's the norm, right? From fi'l and ism. Ism and ism also can. Fi'l and ism also can. Fi'l and fi'l cannot. So we either have it either ism and fi'l or ism and ism. This one can, right? Can I have a jumla from fi'l and ism? Yes, this one is okay, right? So originally, actually, it was supposed to be Unadi Zaidan. When you say Ya Zaidun, actually, originally, it was supposed to be Unadi Zaidan. Come on, I think we should write this up. Do you know how to control this? Last time when it fell down, so the video went upside down. I have to spend 3 days to know how to take it up also again. From there also can.
Yeah.
That's technology. Oh, but you have to come, I think you do. The board will not show. Okay, I have this, right. Okay, you have Ya Zaid. They say according to them the principle is you cannot have a kalam jumla mufida that is constructed from fi'layn, right, or harfayn, or harfun wa fi'lun, or ismun wa harfun. These are the 5 general rulings given by them to us, right? So they say we cannot have jumla mufida from fi'layn. Yaf'alu yaf'alu, yaktubu yaktubu, cannot be jumla mufida. Harfayn, min, and something like that. Fi'lun wa harfun, you have an yaqula, that's harf, and that also fi'l, an yaqula, an taqula nafsun, and you have ismun wa harfun, like Ya Zaid, this is harf, and this is Zaid. According to the general ruling, this one cannot be kalam at all. It is impossible for this one to be kalam. But the Arabs accept this type of expression, this type of sentences to be also considered as kalam. Why? Because they say actually in reality originally, this Ya Zaid wasn't supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be Unadi Zaidan. Unadi, what is that? Fi'l. That's a verb. Unadi, I am calling. Zaidan, Zaid. So this is fi'l and ism. Can I have jumla mufida from fi'l and ism? Yes. That's the norm, right? So the scholars of Nahw, they said you cannot have ism and harf only in a sentence and that sentence makes sense. It will never happen. Except in the case of an-nida. Except in the case of what? An-nida. Nida means the call. Except in the case of an-nida. When it comes to nida, they said it's okay. You can have what? You can have harf and also the ism, which is the munada, the one that you call it. Why do they accept it? Because they say actually this ya is representing fi'l. It is ya in terms of pronunciation and in terms of what you write, but in reality it is not ya, it is what? Fi'l. That you turn it and you convert it into ya. So my question here is, please listen to the question. Do they accept it because it is harf and fi'l, or they accept it because actually this one has a meaning of fi'l? I will repeat. The Arabs, when they accept this type of sentence to go against the general ruling, was it accepted because an-nida, whenever it is there, harfun nida, whenever we see it being connected to a name, the Arabs should accept it because it is nida, or they make it an exception because harful and nida usually represent a verb. Which one? The second one. The general ruling is still there functioning, but this one is an exception because it has the same meaning as fail, right? Instead of unadi zaid, this is too long. The Arab, they like to go with the short forms. So this one is too long. They just cut everything. They bring ya to represent this. They just put ya in front and say ya zaidun and remove this. Do you get it? When I say Ya Zaidun, it is just like saying Unadi Zaidan. Unadi Zaidan. Ad'u Zaidan. Can also, not only Unadi, you can say Ad'u also Zaidan. So the point is, what I want you to understand is this Ya is representing fi'l. That is the reason why the Arab accept this sentence to be Jumla Mufida. It was supposed to be rejected by them. But since the Ya, the harf, which they mention here that we cannot construct Jumla Mufida from harf and ism. But this one they constructed it from harf and ism and they call it Jumla Mufida. Why did they call it Jumla Mufida? Because they say this Ya, it is just Ya in written, but it carries the same meaning of fi'l. Unadi Zaidan. That's why they close their eyes and say this one is accepted. Is that clear, inshallah? Now how to bring it back. Rahman, أعطني glove. Okay, shukran. Okay, almost done. So we have, these are the exceptions, right? Cannot be constructed from fi'laini. Cannot be constructed from ismain. No, that's wrong. Cannot be constructed from harfaini, fi'laini, harfaini, and cannot be constructed from fi'lun wa harfun. The last one is ismun wa harfun, except in the case of nida. And why is it okay in nida? Because the harfun nida is representing fi'l. Good. Thank you very much. أدعو زيدا حل محل الفعل لأن حرف النداء حل محل الفعل وهو أدعو زيدا أو أنادي زيدا. ومن هذا الوجه استدل على أن كيف اسم. This one I really need your attention 150%. Get it? More than the percentage you have. Increase the attentiveness. There is a word called Kefa. Or you can just start it from yourself. Kefa. There is a word Kefa.
Hasn't been all the week.
They say this Kalifa, there was a controversy among the scholars whether it is a name or it is fi'l or it is harf. You get it? Al-Hariri said this one is name, ism. It is not what you call fi'l and it is not harf. Why does he say that? Because he said it is possible according to the Arabs that I said it's the Arabs sometimes they say Kaifa Zaid. I'm asking a question. Kaifa Zaid. Is it Kalam? Yes. Does it make sense? Yes. I'm asking about him. How is he? Is he okay? Usually we say Kaifa Zaid. Kaifa Ibn Nuh. Kaifa Akhuk. Kaifa Tijara. I'm asking about his business. I say Kaifa Tijara. Does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. Hariri said, actually, this is a secret that we can close the discussion of the scholars because they all accept this to be okay. And if they accept it, and those who are saying that this one is harf, it doesn't work because we all agree that harf and ism cannot construct a jumla mufida. Do you get the idea? They said that the harf and fi'l cannot construct a jumla mufida. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We say Jumla Mufida. You're wasting my marker. Jumla Mufida cannot be from Ism and Harf alone, except in Nida. This one, is it Nida? No, it's not Nida. If I say Kaifa, this Kaifa is Harf. What does that mean? I am breaking the general rule that says I cannot have Jumla Mufida from Harf and an ism alone, which makes sense. This one makes sense. What does that mean? This kaifa is not harf, because if it is harf, it will never make a sense. And also, it is not fi'l. Do you understand the reason why this one cannot be harf? Because if you say this one is harf, then it is harf and ism. This one is ism, this one is harf, and we already say we cannot have jumla mufida from harf and ism alone. We have to add something to complete the sentence. And this one makes sense for everyone. What does that mean? This one cannot be harf, because if it is harf, what comes after it is just a name. And ism and harf cannot go together alone and make sense. And this one makes sense. When it makes sense, we know for sure that this one is not harf. Because if it is harf, it will never make sense. Am I making sense? Okay, so you have kayfa zaydun, it works. And so this is the first one, right? It is not harf. And also, it is not fi'l. Why? Because also, it goes with fi'l sometimes. And we say jumla mufida cannot be from fi'l and fi'l. You get it? I ask you, when you do something wrong, I say, كيف فعلت هذا? How did you do it? كيف فعلت? How did you do that? That's harf. And what do you call? That's كيف, that's fi'l. If I call it fi'l, and I have another fi'l also afterwards, then it will be incomplete. Do you get it? I will give you a proper example also that this one is not a fi'l. But what I want you to know, the secret behind the choice of what you call al-Hariri, the reason why he chose this one to be ism, not harf and not fi'l. Because he says if you call it fi'l, if you call it harf, if you say kayfa is harf, not name, that means in this sentence it will never work. And it works with all of them. So when I have kayfa zaydun and it makes sense, we learn and we know for sure that this kayfa is not harf. Because fi'l and harf and ism cannot go together and make sense. Cannot go together and make sense. And it's also not fi'l because sometimes it goes with fi'l. And fi'l and what do you call? And wait first. Okay, wait first. And also fi'l and fi'l, they don't go together and make sense, right? There has to be something in between. That was the last one. Okay. Class, finish. بس وهاتي. Okay, that's the last inshallah, then we stop. So again, we said kalam cannot be constructed from two fi'l, right? And it cannot be constructed from two harf, right? And it cannot be from fi'l and harf alone, and it cannot be also from ism and harf alone, except in the case of nida. And why is it halal for nida to have a complete sentence and something that makes sense? Because the harf of nida is representing fi'l, right? When you say ya zaydun, it's like you are saying unadi or ad'u zaydan. Is that clear? Inshallah. They say, he said, Al-Hariri, he said this is also one of the reasons why the scholars said the word kayfa is not harf. Wait. And it is not fi'l. It is not harf. And it is not fi'l. What does that mean? It has to be ism, because we have three things, right? That's the parts of the speech, right? Aqsamul kalam. You have either ism or fi'l or harf. So if it is not harf and it is not fi'l, that means it is ism. لِنْعِقَادِهَا مَا الْإِسْمِ كَلَامًا تَامًا. When you say كَيْفَ زَيْدٌ كَلَامًا تَامًا في قولك كَيْفَ زَيْدٌ إذ لا يجوز أن تكون حرفا لأنها ليست بحرف نداء. This is what I said. It cannot be harf because it is not harf nida. كيف is not harf nida. And the only harf that can go with name and make sense is what? Harf nida. And this كيف is not harf nida by a consensus of the nuhat. So if this is not harf nida and it goes with ism and makes sense, we learn from this that this word kayfa is not harf. It has to be something else, either fi'l or ism. And he said also, وَلَا يَجُوزُ أَن تَكُونَ فِعْلًا, and it cannot be fi'l also. Cannot be fi'l. لأن الفعل يليها, because sometimes fi'l also comes after it. Cannot be fi'l because fi'l comes after it sometimes. بلا حاجز, without any barrier. You have كيف and then fi'l will come without any barrier. كما قال تعالى كيف فعل ربك ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل. So it comes, the fi'l comes right after, what do you call, after it, because you don't have fi'l and fi'l coming all together in one place without having a hajiz. Hajiz means a barrier, something that comes, you have fi'l and then something else and then another fi'l, no problem. But you have in one sentence fi'l, you get, it doesn't go like that. So here you have كيف فعل ربك. So when we have كيف and we have فعل, فعل is fi'l. كيف, we don't know what is that, but we want to know, is it fi'l, is it harf, is it ism? We mentioned it cannot be harf, right? Because it goes with ism alone, right? And we mentioned it cannot be fi'l. Why? Because al-fi'lu yaliha bila hajiz. Fi'l comes after it, right after it, without any barrier. Just like the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل. فلما خرجت في قولك كيف زيد أن تكون حرفا وأن تكون فعلا دل على أنها اسم لأنه أصل فرددناه إليه. Is that clear? So inshallah I stop here بإذن الله تعالى. I will repeat and then I stop. So we have al-Kalam al-Mufid. We studied today that Kalam cannot be constructed from two fi'l, and cannot be from two harfs, and cannot be from harf and fi'l, and cannot be from harf and ism, except in the case of Nida. And we learn from this lesson that the word Kefa is not fi'l and it is not harf. It has to be what? Name. It has to be ism. Why can't it be harf? Because it comes in a sentence together with a name alone, right? Like what? Kayfa Zaid. And we mentioned the general ruling that ism and harf cannot be together alone and make sense in a sentence, right? So when this one comes, if we say it is harf, then we're breaking that general ruling, which is wrong. And also cannot be fi'l. Why can it be fi'l? Because fi'l comes after it in some cases, right after it, without having any barrier. You get it? And we don't have this case according to the language. We have fi'l and fi'l in one place. There has to be some taqdeer, and there has to be some hajiz. Hajiz means a barrier that's separated between the first fi'l and the second one. Clear, inshallah. So that's the lesson for today. And I also, don't forget, I gave you four things actually, that the Nuhat usually talk about at the beginning of the Ta'rif al-Kalam, which is the differences between Kalam and Kalim and Kalima and Qawl. It's very important for you to master this introduction. Kalam is something that you already know, which makes sense, and murakkab min kalimatayn fa akthar. You get it? And makes sense, and it has to be also according to the language of the Arabs. Kalim is something that is not necessary for it to make sense, but it has to be more than 2, 3 and above. You have Qawl, you have Kalima. This is one of the juzu of. You have Kalima. This is one of. What is Kalima? This is a juzu of the Kalam, juzu of the Kalim. One word, right? A word. When you have Kalam, you have 3 words, 4 words, 5 words. Every word is called Kalima. And you have the last one is what? Al-Qawl. What is Al-Qawl? That's a general term that includes all of those above mentioned statements. Wallahu a'lam. So the Hariri says, I really want you to keep on remembering what you memorized earlier. Hariri says, حد الكلام ما أفاد المستمع نحو سعى زيد وأمر متبع ونوعه الذي عليه يبنى خلاص already forgot. الله المستعان. اسم وفعل ثم حرف معنى. I will keep on repeating every day. Although it's not a requirement, so don't get scared and run away from the class. Some people run until we thought they would never come back. Well, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought them back here. So I will keep on repeating the what you call the abiyat. It will go by itself. No need to make any effort, inshallah, it will go by itself. Bismillah ta'ala. So حد الكلام ما أفاد المستمع نحو سعى زيد وأمر متبع ونوعه الذي عليه يبنى اسم وفعل ثم حرف معنى. So these are the things that we will study inshallah next week if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wish we come back. We'll study that bismillah ta'ala inshallah. Aqsamul Kalam, that's the ism. What is ism? Harf and also the fi'l. These three things bismillah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. So I stop here for the Nahw class. I give you 3 minutes to think and ask if any question. If not, then I take the 5th class inshallah. Yes. Now, usually when you have those, there is what we call taqdeer. You have min aina anta, you get it, aina anta, you have all of those been attached. But here you just have kayfa and zayd. There is no taqdeer. You get it, kayfa zaydun. Of course, you can have the taqdeer if you wish, because when I say kayfa zaydun, it can be kayfa halu Zayd. But hal also is not fi'l. It has to be a name. So name and name. So kayfa comes right after name and it makes sense. You get it. But halu Zaydin, you can have the taqdeer also if you wish, like that. But here, the reason why he brought kayfa, get it? The reason why he brought kayfa, and we cannot apply those things you mentioned in the question. The reason why he brought kayfa, because there is a controversy among the scholars of Nahw. This word kayfa, is it name or is it ism or fi'l or harf? It's a long controversy. If you keep on studying the Nahw, inshallah we come across that. So he just wants to tell you that to him, according to him, when you go to other scholars, they don't agree. They might refute him in that. But according to him, kayfa is a name, and his justification is understood. It's a very good justification, because he says we all agree that ism cannot be from harf and what called jumla mufida cannot be constructed from harf and what? And ism. When you have harf and ism, there has to be something you get added to it to make a complete sentence, right? Or when you have what do you call ya zaydun, this is harf and ism. They say this one is okay because in reality this harf of nida is not harf of nida, is a fi'l. Is unadi ad'u. You get it? Ad'u zaydan, unadi zaydan, or ad'u zaydan. So since this year is actually a replacement of a fi'l, they give it the ruling of fi'l, because when you have fi'l and you have ism, you put them both together in one place, they will construct and they will make a complete sentence, right? So this is an exception in this case. But then he decided to use this approach also to prove his opinion that says kayfa is not harf and it is not fi'l. It has to be a name. Why isn't it harf? Because he said, according to the Arabs, sometimes you just say to a person, kayfa Zayd, kayfa Farid, kayfa Karim, kayfa Kalima, sometimes like that. So you just have kayfa and you have the name. So he said, since kayfa goes with the name and makes sense, we learn from this that kayfa is not harf. It has to be ism. Because harf and ism cannot be together alone in a sentence which makes sense. But if we have here kayfa Zayd making sense, so we understand from this approach that kayfa is not harf. And also it cannot be fi'l, because sometimes it comes together with fi'l in one place without having any barrier to separate between them. And fi'l doesn't come like that. Fa'ala, fa'ala, yaf'alu, fa'ala. It doesn't come like that. It has to be fi'l and then something else after the fi'l and then another fi'l. But when you have in a sentence, even in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka. Kayfa fa'ala rabbuka. He said, we learn from this for sure that kayfa is not fi'l, because if it is fi'l, there has to be something between it and another fi'l, which is fa'ala. Kayfa fa'ala rabbuka. If kayfa is fi'l, then there has to be something between it and the second fi'l mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get the idea. So I just want you to understand the reason why he brought it. The remaining of the huruf, there was no controversy among the scholars whether they are harf or not. You get those one that you mentioned, min, an, and all this, they can come. When they come, we have the taqdeer, we keep it in the way it is. We don't call them name just because we see them, two of them, harf and aina anta. You get it? Aina anta. We don't call it what do you call we don't call it we don't call aina we don't call it ism, although aina actually is not harf, is dharf. Dharf also is one of the names. An kataba, for example, or anna zaidan. We don't call it, doesn't make sense actually. But if you were to have a complete sentence from harf and also name coming after that, we don't call that harf what do you call astaghfirullah, name, just because it is merged with another name. So to summarize what I said, the reason why they brought the issue of kayfa, it is because of the controversy of the nuhat, to tell you that this kayfa cannot be harf and it cannot be fi'l, it has to be ism. Why can it be harf? Because it goes with ism. Why can't it be fi'l? Because it goes with fi'l without a barrier. Clear? Okay, inshallah. So just stick with the general rule. Whenever you have something which is against, then you return it back to the main principle, inshallah. Any other question? Any question? No.